Hello, I'm Willie from the Ozarks, and we are ready for our, what is it, 13th of May, 2022 lesson. Lesson 133 in the original edition of A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students. I will not value what is valueless, for what is valuable belongs to me. I will not value what is valueless. I will not value what is valueless. Sometimes in teaching there is benefit, particularly after you have gone through what seems theoretical and far from what the student has already learned, to bring him back to practical concerns. Thus we will do today. We will not speak of lofty world-encompassing ideas, but dwell instead on benefits to you. You do not ask too much of life, but far too little. You do not ask too much of life, but far too little. When you let your mind be drawn to bodily concerns, to things you buy, to eminence as valued by the world, you ask for sorrow, not for happiness. This course does not attempt to take from you the little that you have. It does not try to substitute utopian ideas for satisfactions which the world contains. There are no satisfactions in the world. Today we list the real criteria by which to test all things you think you want. Unless they meet these sound requirements, they are not worth desiring at all, for they can but replace what offers more. The laws which govern choice you cannot make, no more than you can make alternatives from which to choose. The choosing you can do, indeed you must. But it is wise to learn the laws you set in motion when you choose, and what alternatives you choose between. It is wise to learn the laws you set in motion when you choose, and what alternatives you choose between. We have already stressed there are but two, however many there appear to be. What are those two? You probably know by now, don't you? Truth and illusion. Can we think of it that simply? The range is set, and this we cannot change. It would be most ingenerous to you to let alternatives be limitless, and thus delay your final choice until you had considered all of them in time, and not been brought so clearly to the place where there is but one choice that must be made. Another kindly related law is that there is no compromise in what your choice must bring. It cannot give you just a little, for there is no in-between. Each choice you make brings everything to you or nothing. Therefore, if you learn the test by which you can distinguish everything from nothing, you will make the better choice. Between truth and illusion, between everything and nothing. First, if you choose, okay, just a minute here. First, I'm going to set something here on top of my, got a little bit of wind blowing around here. Just wanted to set things in order. Another kindly and related law is that there is no compromise in what your choice must bring. It cannot give you just a little, for there is no in-between. Each choice you bring brings everything to you or nothing. Therefore, if you learn the test by which you can distinguish everything from nothing, you will make the better choice. First, if you choose a thing that will not last forever, what you choose is valueless. A temporary value is without all value. Time can never take away a value that is real. What fades and dies was never there and makes no offering to him who chooses it. He is deceived by nothing in a form he thinks he likes. He's deceived by nothing in a form that he thinks he likes. Next, if you choose to take a thing away from someone else, you will have nothing left. This is because when you deny his right to everything, you have denied your own. We're all in this together, aren't we? You therefore will not recognize the things you really have, denying they are there. Who seeks to take away has been deceived by the illusion loss can offer gain. Yet loss must offer loss and nothing more. Your next consideration is the one in which the others rest. Why is the choice you make of value to you? What attracts your mind to it? What purpose does it serve? Here it is easiest of all to be deceived, for what the ego wants it fails to recognize. It does not even tell the truth as it perceives it, for it needs to keep the halo which it uses to protect its goals from tarnish and from rust, that you may see how innocent it is. Let's read that again. Your next consideration is the one in which the others rest. Why is the choice you make of value to you? What attracts your mind to it? What purpose does it serve? Here it is easiest of all to be deceived, for what the ego wants it fails to recognize. It does not even tell the truth as it perceives it, for it needs to keep the halo which it uses to protect its goals from tarnish and from rust, that you may see how innocent it is. Not. Yet is its camouflage a thin veneer which could deceive but those who are content to be deceived. Its goals are obvious to anyone who cares to look for them. Here is perception doubled, for the one who deceived, here is deception doubled, for the one who is deceived will not perceive that he has merely failed to gain. He will believe that he has served the ego's hidden goals, and though he tries to keep its halo clear within his vision, yet must he perceive its tarnished edges and its rusted core. His ineffectual mistakes appear as sins to him because he looks upon the tarnished as his own, the rust, a sign of deep unworthiness within himself. He who would still preserve the ego's goals and serve them as his own makes no mistakes according to the dictates of his guide. This guidance teaches it is error to believe that sins are but mistakes, for who would suffer for his sins if this were so? And so we come to the criterion for choice which is the hardest to believe, because its obviousness is overlaid with many levels of obscurity. If you feel any guilt about your choice, you have allowed the ego's goal to come between the real alternatives, and thus you do not realize there are but two. And the alternative you think you chose seems fearful and too dangerous to be the nothingness it actually is. All things are valuable or valueless, worthy or not of being sought at all, entirely desirable or not worth the slightest effort to obtain. I love it the way Jesus makes things so simple. Choosing is easy just because of this. Complexity is nothing but a screen of smoke which hides the very simple fact that no decision can be difficult. What is the gain to you in learning this? It is far more than merely letting you make choices easily and without pain. Heaven itself is reached by empty hands and open minds, which come with nothing to find everything and claim it as their own. We will attempt to reach this state today, with self-deception laid aside and with an honest willingness to value but the truly valuable and the real. Our two extended practice periods of 15 minutes will begin with this. I will not value what is valueless, and only what has value do I seek, for only that do I desire to find. And then receive what waits for everyone who reaches unencumbered to the gate of heaven, which swings open as he comes. Should you begin to let yourself collect some needless burden, or believe you see some difficult decisions facing you, be quick to answer with this simple thought: I will not value what is valueless, for what is valuable belongs to me. I will not value what is valueless, for what is valuable belongs to me. Okay, let us take a look in our text reading, and we are ready for paragraph 57. Let's start with paragraph 57, and we'll read the rest of that section in chapter 18, the dream and the reality. And this is section 7, dreams and the body. And before we read that, let me tell you about an old heirloom corn called Aunt Mary's. And I'm telling you this out of the Seed Savers Exchange. Aunt Mary's heirloom sweet corn. Once promoted as the best white sweet corn in the world, this hardy mid-season variety bears 1 or 2 ears per stalk. Plants grow 6 to 8 foot tall. Named for Mary Atkinson of London, Ohio. This variety is believed to have been stewarded by the Atkinson family since before 1850. It was donated to Seed Savers Exchange in the early 1980s by W. Williams. So that's your Aunt Mary's sweet corn. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and read, starting in 57. The body is outside you, and but seems to surround you, shutting you off from others and keeping you apart from them and them from you. It is not them. It is not there. There is no barrier between God and His Son, nor can His Son be separated from Himself except in illusions. This is not His reality, though He believes it is. Yet this could only be if God were wrong. God would have had to create differently and to have separated Himself from His Son to make this possible. He would have had to create different things and to establish different orders of reality, only some of which were love. Only some of which were love. Well, God isn't going to do that, is He? Because God is love and everything He makes is love. Yet love must be forever like itself, changeless forever and forever without alternative. And so it is. You cannot put a barrier around yourself because God placed none between Himself and you. You can stretch out your hand and reach to heaven. You whose hands are joined have begun to reach beyond the body, but not outside yourselves to reach your shared identity together. Could this be outside you, where God is not? Is He a body, and did He create you as He is not, and where He cannot be? You are surrounded only by Him. What limit can there be on you whom He encompasses? Everyone has experienced what he would call a sense of being transported beyond himself. Everyone has experienced what he would call a sense of being transported beyond himself. This feeling of liberation far exceeds the dream of freedom sometimes experienced in special relationships. It is a sense of actual escape from limitations. If you will consider what this transportation really entails, you will realize that it is a sudden awareness of the body and a joining of yourself and something else in which your mind enlarges to encompass it. It becomes part of you as you unite with it, and both become whole as neither is perceived as separate. I'm going to read those last couple sentences again. Starting in paragraph 59, if you will consider what this transportation really entails, you will realize that it is a sudden unawareness of the body and a joining of yourself and something else in which your mind enlarges to encompass it. It becomes part of you as you unite with it, and both become whole as neither is perceived as separate. What really happens is that you have given up the illusion of limited awareness and lost your fear of union. The love that instantly replaces it extends to what has freed you and unites with it. And while this lasts, you are not uncertain of your identity and would not limit it. You have escaped from fear to peace, asking no questions of reality but merely accepting it. You have accepted this instead of the body, and have let yourself be one with something beyond it simply by not letting your mind be limited by it. This can occur regardless of the physical distance which seems to be between you and what you join, of your respective positions in space, and of your differences in size and seeming quality. Time is not relevant. It can occur with something past, present, or anticipated. The something can be anything or anywhere: a sound, a sight, a thought, a memory, and even a general idea without specific reference. Yet in every case, you joined it without reservation because you love it and would be with it. And so you rush to meet it, letting your limits melt away, suspending all the laws your body obeys and gently setting them aside. There is no violence at all in this escape. The body is not attacked, but simply properly perceived. It does not limit you merely because you would not have it so. You are not really lifted out of it. It cannot contain you. You are not really lifted out of the body. Your body can't contain you. You go where you would be, gaining, not losing, a sense of self. In these instances of release from physical restrictions, you experience much of what happens in the holy instant: the lifting of the barriers of time and space, the sudden experience of peace and joy, and above all, the lack of awareness of the body and of the questioning whether or not all this is possible. And the last paragraph we'll read, 62, it is possible because you want it. This sudden expansion of the self which takes place with your desire for it is the irresistible appeal the holy instant holds. It calls to you to be yourself within its safe embrace. There are the laws of limit lifted for you, to welcome you to openness of mind and freedom. Come to this place of refuge where you can be yourself in peace, not through destruction, not through a breaking out, but merely by a quiet melting in. For peace will join you there simply because you have been willing to let go the limits you have placed upon love and joined it where it is and where it led you in answer to its gentle call to be at peace. So we don't want to be breaking out, we want to be melting in. For peace will join you there simply because you have been willing to let go the limits you have placed upon love and joined it where it is and where it led you in answer to its gentle call to be at peace. And remember yesterday we talked about how we're trying to get our beliefs in alignment with what's real, and our beliefs are so powerful, and our values, we're trying to get them aligned up with what is real so that we don't suffer from valuing and believing in things that are valueless and truly unbelievable in reality. Well, this is what our lesson is about today. Today, in your 2 15-minute extended periods, start off by saying, I will not value what is valueless, and only what has value do I seek, for only that do I desire to find. I will not value what is valueless, and only what has value do I seek, for only that do I desire to find. And then throughout the day, at least once an hour, more if you can, just keep the idea alive and kind of nurture yourself with this idea today. I will not value what is valueless, and what is valuable belongs to me. I will not value what is valueless, for what is valuable belongs to me. You might want to write both those little phrases on a card and keep them with you. and maybe not so much on the 15-minute one if you have your book handy. I would read that lesson. If you don't want to have to crack your book open, write it down on your card and then refer to it before your 15-minute quiet time or longer. I will not value what is valueless, for what is valuable belongs to me. Thank you so much for joining me out here in my garden. Until tomorrow, I will not value what is valueless, for what is valuable belongs to me.